record button. There we go. And we've started. Welcome back to another podcast. We've actually gotten one out in a reasonable amount of time this time. Returning is Nadine from the last one. And
hi, guys.
Joining us this evening is Caleb, part of our B-Team squad. Caleb, why don't you introduce yourself there?
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very happy to be here. Not sure if they've come yet, but I have been messaging out to the fans of the Grand Blue and the Talkin' and Chillin' crew to come out and see some of these podcasts. Hopefully they make it. If not, I know they will be coming soon. So, glad to be here, though.
And you're the guy that does the movie reviews that we've been posting lately, right?
Yes, I am doing the movie reviews, and I am working on some more of them as we speak.
Yay, Mac and me.
No. Although there are some very bad ones on the list.
Jeez.
I'm looking forward to them.
I can't wait.
Mm.
So we're going to go ahead and kick off with a very special. We do want to acknowledge some things that have been going on, and we thought that Nadine has a beautiful way with words, so we're going to let her take it from here.
We're all very aware that we're in a pivotal moment of history and where emotions are very high. And just like we do in our fandoms, we want to be inclusive and supportive of everyone. So let's translate what we've learned from our different fandoms and take it into our real lives and face everything with compassion and empathy. Just try to do our best to put our best foot forward and be the best kind of people we can be.
Yes, completely agree. Let's all remember to not be toxic, even if you're trying to make a point. Just stay calm and remember we all love each other. We should anyway. All right, so digging into the depths of non-news since the last podcast. I know Caleb's itching to get into this one. Sony had their big expo yesterday, Friday.
It was yesterday,
Thursday.
I think. It was the 11th. So, no, it was the 11th.
Okay, so yeah. No, so that was the third. Anyway, they had it. It was big, apparently. They revealed the 14 plus new games. Well, not new, but upcoming games.
I think that's the number. I have not actually counted how many they announced. It is a good bit. Some of them were just trailers, some of them gameplays. Some mesh.
Yeah. They had, and I know Ratchet and Clank was part of that.
Yep.
They did announce Abe, right? Like a new Abe game.
Ave?
Abe from Oddworld.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And you call yourself a PlayStation. Jeez.
Oh, I am.
We got the Miles Morales expansion for Spider-Man PS, which looks really, really good, especially for being an expansion.
It's a title that is not only extremely it has extremely been anticipated since the Spider-Man game for PS4, but apparently it has questions. People are people are questioning like what is, because Insomniac says it's a standalone game, but it's an expansion of something that was touched in the first game, but they're also working on a sequel to that game.
Right, which...
And apparently
Go ahead.
apparently Miles is supposed to be like a pre-game kind of situation.
Oh, really? They're going that route.
I don't know. That's just it. Like, because they're working on a Marvel Spider-Man 2 game.
Right.
Like, they're still working on that. So Miles Morales is kind of like a buffer. It's like, okay, play this, be happy,
Right,
and
which
we
is
will have.
usually what an expansion is. I mean, it's an extra part of the story. Arkham did that with what was it, Catwoman and Batgirl? I'm not. I
I
could be
mean, it
wrong.
is its own universe, kind of.
See,
Miles is
other
doing his
other
own
than
things.
other than grabbing the controller at my friend's house and web slinging through the city, I haven't gotten to actually play the game, and I've stayed away from story aspects of it, other than some stuff that he's told me that wasn't really spoilery. Because apparently it's this amazing story. I just don't have a
It is.
PlayStation to play it. So I've stayed away from some stuff, and I've heard things here and there. Uh, Now, initially, when it was announced, they said that is an expansion uh, to the game, which makes sense. It would be like a bigger DLC, kind of like
Mhm.
what do you call it? Man, my brain just shits on me. 1 second. You don't need me? Okay. I've got my son here. I thought he was talking. Um, Destiny.
Oh yeah.
Like with the Taken King or something like that. It changes the game. It's a standalone game, but it builds off of the core game that you already paid $60 for, and you have to pay another $30 for the expansion.
Which, I'm very much willing to pay that for
Right.
this.
I mean, from what I've seen and from what I've heard of the actual game, I mean, I'm not a big Miles Morales fan myself. I did love the movie, and I've seen some of the stuff in game of his character, and he seemed pretty decent. So I'm like, okay, this looks pretty sick. I'm a Spider-Man fan in general, so I would most likely buy this. But I'm hearing, well, it's a standalone. It's not a standalone.
Yeah. I mean, I would love
I don't know.
nothing more than for this Miles Morales story to somehow spawn more Marvel games made by Insomniac.
Well, see,
I'd love
here's
to see a Wolverine game because like the people who made the Spider-Man game, they put every ounce of love into the game.
no doubt.
Like it
Insomniac's a
feels like
great
a
dev.
comic, it watches like a movie, and it plays like an experience.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, Insomniac has a very heavy hand when it comes to Sony. If they are not a Sony exclusive, I don't know the definitive on that myself. That's why I'm phrasing it this way.
They
Um, they,
usually give all their stuff to Sony.
yeah, but they're a great dev. They put out quality shit constantly, and the fact that they got their hands on Spider-Man when it was first announced, I'm sitting there going, maybe I need to buy a PS4. And I just never had the extra cash. And my brother is a big Sony fanboy, and I say that just fucking with him. But we're two sides of the same coin. He just plays PlayStation, and he's like, dude, I am so getting this game. He goes, you can come over and play it, but I'm getting this game day one, and I don't care. Okay, fine. And he bought it, and he was sitting there messaging me the entire time, like 30 minutes of gameplay, message, 30 minutes of gameplay, message, and then he'd send little videos of, look how smooth the web slinging is, look at this, look what I can do with this, and look at this suit that I just got. I'm like, dude. And we went over there for our monthly hangout, and he's just like, dude, check this out. And I had my son with me, and I let him play around with it. I'm just sitting there watching him. God, this is just as good as the Spider-Man 2 game when that came out on the OG Xbox. Because love it or hate it, that game was solid.
Hmm. But
But
you know, like it's a fact. Like, don't get me wrong, the Spider-Man game took forever to
I
come
heard it
out.
was long.
It took about 2 years for it to get finalized, but when you play it and you remember that first gameplay, you think to yourself, "Wow, no wonder it took 2 years to finish." Because it looks like they took every second to make it, and it's great. The only other game that I think compares to the amount of detail that it has is maybe the South Park games. And the South Park games are only that way because the
Okay.
creators made the game.
Right,
So
right,
you know
right.
that there's
I get it.
like,
Yeah,
I
when
guess
they had to
that
sit there and
level.
basically map out the town
Hmm.
and go, okay, well, you have to go this way in order to get to this place, and this place is going to be next to this place. And I watched, well, no, I listened to an
Hmm.
interview with, I think it was Matt, and he's the bigger of the two in the games, and he loves board games, like he loves D&D and stuff like that, and he wanted it to be a good game and not just a game. Like he's the one that basically caused it to be pushed back and pushed back and pushed back. Both of them when they came out because he wanted it to be right. He wanted it to be as best as it could be, and he would rather push it back and take heat from fans. But when you get it in your hands and you play it, it it's a good game.
Yeah, it is. It is it the best. Like, but yeah, no. Like that's the kind of attention that a lot of PlayStation games are getting nowadays. The Spider-Man game kind of set the bar. It set a
Yeah,
bar of, okay, this
I'll
is
go with
how
that.
amazing your games have to be.
Yeah, and we've said this a couple times in group and probably in the group chat too. Back when 360 and PS3 came out, um, the PS3 stumbled out the gate.
Hmm.
It had the higher price tag. It had hardware issues on release that were so bad people stopped buying it,
Hmm.
and it caused a lot of developers to open up their doors to doing business with Xbox and Microsoft, which is why you got some of the Final Fantasy games that came out on the Xbox. You didn't get the good ones, but you got some. Uh, and a lot of people. That's why you got Grand Theft on there as well. They decided to open the doors here and say, hey, we'd like doing business with you, but your consoles aren't selling. But I mean, Sony's credit, they fixed it rather quickly, but they had to repair the trust there, and it took a while. But by about mid-gen, they're about equal thumbs. Um, they both had some solid exclusives, but Microsoft, when they were going into this last gen, they they screwed the pooch bad. They the guy that was heading it up until about 2 months before release was such a shithead and just did not care. And people were like, well, if that's the way you're going to be, then we're not buying your box. And I know a lot of people that followed through on that. And I sat there and I watched. I was watching, and then he got fired and immediately replaced. And the dude came out, like I think like 2 days after he took the job, and said, "Look, we're changing this, we're fixing this, and we're going to guarantee this within a month of release." Okay, cool. And they barely rescued the one from failing miserably, and they have the backwards compatible stuff down. They've got some decent um, exclusives, but not a lot, not as much as Sony has. But that's why
See,
Microsoft's been buying up
that's-
devs for the past 2 years.
That's kind of one of the things that I have to give, because okay, so a lot of people
Poor Nadine
will
just
tell
sitting
you.
there silent.
So many people will say, "Oh, but the new mini fridge Xbox is so much more powerful." Yes, I will admit that it is slightly more powerful than the PS5. I'll admit that. I will give that to you. But where PS4 lacks in the PS5 lacks in its power, PlayStation knows how to use the power it has.
Well, that's a good point as well.
I mean,
They've been very open with their devs on basically handing them a console and saying, "Okay, push it," and they do. I'll give them that. The people that do the exclusives, those exclusives are solid. Whether I
like
want to play the game or not, they are very solid.
one of the games that was announced during the expo that it's a new title and the it's an exclusive. Not only is it an exclusive to PS5, but it was tailor made for the PS5. Is Project Athea?
I saw the title floating around. I didn't see anything on it.
It's kind of like it's got like a bunch of magic and stuff, but it has like Assassin's Creed stealth kind of stuff. It's a game that looks beautiful and moves fast and kind of has its own. Again, it's one of those kind of games that has its own universe that you just kind of want to give up into.
Right.
And I don't remember, but I think it was actually being made by Square Enix. I could be wrong. That might be a different game.
Well, I know.
But I know Square Enix did make an appearance during. It might have been that or a game called Demon Souls. I do not remember which one.
Okay. Now, a couple weeks ago, Xbox did a gameplay expo, which I was impressed but not impressed at the same time. And a lot of these expos I kind of take at half heart because we all know devs build these things on a computer.
Hmm.
They are tested on a computer. They ran on a computer. And then they are dumbed down for the console. I mean, that's just fact. So when you see these expos and they're like, this is live gameplay for this console, is it though? Is it really? There's no way to prove it. Unless you actually see somebody sitting there playing it, there's no way to prove it.
Hmm.
And it goes for both. And especially when you're watching it on a cell phone, whether your cell phone is brand fucking new or it's 2 years old, are you really getting the full visual effect? I mean, we've got next gen consoles coming out at the end of the year, and I don't even have a 4K TV. I'm probably going to have to drop money on a 4K TV pretty quick in order to get my money's worth out of the next system.
I mean, there are a lot of games, like a lot of the games that were made recently for like the current gen, they were optimized for 4K, and I mean, I've played some of them, and they seem perfectly fine on a normal television. I'm sure it would step it up a notch, but I've never felt the need to get a 4K.
Yeah, and that's a common thought process with a lot of people. It's like, okay, they're making these things that are supposed to be optimized on these expensive TVs, but who really has the money to go get one of these things?
And the console,
Yeah,
and the game.
right. So, I mean, I'm happy with where the graphics are at right now. As long as it's smooth and it doesn't glitch and everything's synced up the way it needs to be, I'm fine. I'll get a TV eventually, but if I have to buy one just to optimize my console, Jesus, I'm not made of freaking money. Because you're talking at least, do quick some math, almost, I'd say $1,500. No,
Hmm.
no, I'd go 17.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
For because the 75, if for a 75-inch Vizio 4K TV, they're all smart now, so there's no choice in that. It's about $950. Tax will probably put it at about $1,000.
I probably got a coupon somewhere. I don't know.
I wish.
Go down to Costco, get it for about $1.50 if I really try.
I mean, I've got a 55-inch that I've had for almost 10 years now, and this thing has served me well through 4 different consoles. I mean, it's just fine, and I'm not buying another one unless I get a bigger size. And if I get a bigger size, I'm going to a 75-inch. I mean, I'm a tech guy, so I'm not being smart when I buy tech. I'm just getting the 75-inch. That's just the way it's going to happen. And then we're going to move the 55 into my little bedroom and be blinded every time we go to bed. It'll be awesome. But I mean, Sony did have some strong suits coming out. I'm really paying attention because at this point it looks like I'm going to be trying to maneuver purchasing both.
Yeah, no, like PlayStation, they've stayed quiet long enough for just about everything they announced to be like, where is this coming from?
Right. The only thing that I will say,
they didn't go to E3 last year.
Right.
And ever since then, they've been like, okay, hey, yeah, guys, we've been working on this. Here's this game. Here's this game. We're doing this, but you might want to wait till a little later because we want to bring it to the PS5. But if you really need to play it,
well, I mean, they leaked little bits and pieces of the design. So when they actually showed it, I'm just like, that doesn't surprise me. It looks a little funny, but it's not horrible. I mean, and the same with Xbox.
everyone's
The only thing
jokes.
that shook me up with the Xbox was it's an upright console.
And this one also seems to, like, they want you to be upright with it.
Yeah, I've never liked the upright position on my consoles.
It looks like it's optional, but it kind of looks better when it's upright. At least a little better.
I will say my two favorite memes of it so far have been the Top of Cell's head and Doug Dimmadome's hat.
Yeah. I've been, honestly, the Cell one makes me really want to reskin my PS5 to look like Cell.
Oh, that would be so awesome.
Like, the perfect console.
I'm not even gonna lie. That would be awesome.
The perfect console. Get it ready for Xenoverse 3.
Or put some purple on the black, and this isn't even my final form.
Honestly, my favorite joke is the fact that everyone's thinking it looks like Kaiba.
Yeah, that was the
That has
first
to
one
be-
I've seen, and it was like an hour or two after they announced it. I'm like, holy crap, they went after this bad.
They did. Well, it's because, they've been charging up with the Xbox, the Microsoft, they've been charging up with that, just having fun with it. It's like, okay, as soon as Sony drops, we have got to just unleash the dogs of war. We have to keep balance. We can't insult one of them without the other. And they're like, okay, what does it look like? What does it look like? I don't know. It looks like a Wi-Fi router.
And I mean, it really does. I mean, to
I
me, the R&D department and design department at both companies kind of took a shit in the bed on this.
I mean, I will admit this: the PS5 looks more. It looks like something you would see in a sci-fi movie.
Yeah, but
You know, it's got a sleek design. They gave it that kind of like a clean white color, and it lights up blue a little more definitively than the PS4 does. Um, the new Xbox kind of looks like it came out of the Borg's apocalypse of some kind.
I mean, I'll agree with that. But I will say that the PS5 looks like if I knocked it over, it would break.
Well, see, that's part of the sci-fi design. If you touch anything in a sci-fi movie, it will shatter upon contact.
Well, it shatters
That's
on
just
contact, or it turns red and says, "You must die, human."
well, sure,
I'm
but
sorry,
if my
Dave.
Well, see, actually, fun fact, that's what happens if you get the digital and physical PS5s. If you put them in the same room together, they'll merge and transform to kill you.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah. They tried programming it out, but for some reason they just couldn't delete it. It just kept coming back.
Damn you,
Um,
Sony. And then we go
But,
back
I
to
mean-
South Park with the Sony versus Xbox. Wiener, wiener,
Yeah, no.
wiener, wiener, wiener.
Honestly,
I can't like. I will like. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of. We have to do a lot of waiting
Oh yeah.
before anything becomes more set in stone because even most of the trailers that they showed, they only showed gameplay of maybe a quarter of them. I know Ratchet and Clank got some gameplay. Um, I think the new Horizon game got some gameplay. Um, whatever the heck Bug Snacks is got a little.
I've
but
seen 2 pictures of it, and my sister-in-law says that it looks completely and utterly adorable, and I'm just sitting there going, I don't even know if I want to look this thing up.
it's an adorable nightmare, is what it
Because
is.
that's exactly what I'm hearing. People are like, this freaked me out. Why does it freak you out? It looks cute. No, it looks evil. What?
And that
What are
ending
they
in the
talking
trailer
about?
did not help. Apparently, like
Honestly, while I was watching it, the only thing I could think of was, this is Ted Bear, master survivalist.
Oh,
Like,
God.
that's all I could think of. It's edible bugs.
that for
Uh,
some reason morph into a Terminator made of food, which sounds like
Oh.
the perfect enemy
sounds like a good
for
anime.
me.
But
That's Teddy Ruxpin.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I mean,
It's Teddy Ruxpin with the Aussie tape left in for 30 years. This is what happens when you mix the dark metal arts and Teddy Ruxpin. The
I mean,
PS5.
honestly, Bug Snacks did creep me, just like gave me unsettling vibes. Whereas the game that was supposed to be scary, Ghostwire Tokyo, just made me interested. It looks really cool. At first, I thought it was supposed to be the Resident Evil game, but they corrected me later
Oh, yeah.
by releasing Resident Evil Village.
Which I still haven't seen anything on that yet. I saw it was announced, but I hadn't seen any
It
video.
looks good. It looks good. I mean, almost every game on there, except for maybe Gran Turismo, but that's just my opinion, looks good.
Now-
Everything but.
They already got me wanting a PlayStation because of Spider-Man and a couple other
Mhm.
exclusives that they have. But if they really wanted to win me over,
hmm
and I will put this out, if they really wanted to win me over to buy their console,
What does the PlayStation Nation got to do for you?
I want Dino
Boy.
Crisis.
Will you settle for a Parappa the Rapper?
No. I want Dino
Dang.
Crisis. No, I
Alright, I
had
try.
Dino Crisis on the Dreamcast,
All right.
and I was brand new to those types of games, so I'm just kind of running through doing random stuff, and I still loved it. It was an amazing game, at least to me. It was a phenomenal game, and the past couple of years they've been doing the remakes of Final Fantasy. They've been doing the Resident Evil remakes, and I'm
Even
just like,
Sackboy came back.
yeah, and I'm sitting there going, Dino Crisis was fun. Bring that back.
No,
Come
you will
on.
sit there and you will play the equivalent of the Freddy Fazbear crew eating the buffet.
Never.
Yes,
my
you
head big.
will.
Where he pops his head out of the toilet going, never.
But yeah, no. Honestly, a lot of people after seeing the stuff that PlayStation dropped, they are thinking to themselves, because PlayStation, the boys at Sony, they're digging up a couple of the fan favorites from the PS5.
Oh yeah.
You know, like Spider-Man is getting a chance on PS5. Horizon is getting a chance on PS5. Sackboy is getting his chance on the PS5 in the 3D realm, which is its own marvel.
Yeah.
And like Resident Evil. No, no, come on down. So some people, even Ratchet and Clank, they're back in business. Some people are thinking, okay, how deep is Sony gonna go?
I think they're going to bring back Jak and Daxter at some point too.
Jak and Daxter, that is a pretty. I mean, it's a deep hole. I think Ratchet and Clank has to do well, for us to dig that deep.
I think Ratchet and Clank has the fan base right now for that game to do well. We actually rented the movie when it came out 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Because it looked really good to me, so I'm like, oh,
I
okay,
love the movie.
You know, I was familiar with the game, even though I don't have a PlayStation or had a PlayStation. I was familiar with the game. I was familiar with the characters, and we watched the movie. And I'm like, this is really good, and apparently it did fairly well enough for them to reboot the series, or at least do another installment in it. So hopefully, if that does well, we'll get another Jak and Daxter.
The best way to describe the movie is it's a movie about a video game that's so good that it makes you want to grab a controller and play it. The people knew this, so they made a video game version of the movie where you can pick up said controller.
Yeah.
Honestly, I wish more video game movies did that.
Oh yeah. We got. They did pretty good. Everybody's got their opinions, but it seems like everybody's kind of sitting there going, okay, so when are we going to get a price and can pre-order? Xbox.
Everyone.
Oh, go ahead.
I mean, the rumor that's going around is 500 to maybe 600.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing.
That's the rumor. Of course, there's a $700 placeholder that means absolutely nothing. Unless it's a bundle that they haven't announced yet.
I shared that, and I was like, no. I wanted to show it to everybody going, look, don't do this. Please don't be that guy.
No.
I mean,
no.
At their own expo, they don't announce an official release date or a price. Even though everyone's expecting 5 to 6, they also came out 2 months ago, or about now 2 months ago, and said, hey, we haven't been able to keep up on production of these, so they're going to be limited and the price is going to be higher than we expected, without giving any numbers. So your 5 to 600 might be looking closer to 7.
And look, I am more than. There is one way. There is only one way I am willing to pay said 700. And that is if it comes with a game. It needs to come with some games.
Yeah, I'd
In a
agree with
bundle
that.
for me to spend $700. If I'm willing to do it, I am. But throw in Spider-Man Miles Morales as a
Yeah.
bundle, and I'll do it. I will throw down that money. I don't care.
Now I bought
Um,
when I bought my one, I got a day one edition, which tacked
mhm.
like I think $75 onto it. But my day one edition has lasted me this entire generation. The only issues it's giving me right now are on newer games that are more designed for the newer readers that they put into the updated
Yeah.
consoles. So I have to buy digitally. Okay, whatever. I've got a 2 terabyte hard drive. I don't give a shit. Bring it.
Yeah, no, like honestly, like like okay, there is another way. It doesn't have to be a game, but I did see a lovely PS5 camera during that expo. Be great if I didn't
PS5
have to
camera,
go and buy that separate.
like a Connect.
The PS5 camera is used for the VR system, which in the fact that they showed off the camera has people thinking that they are currently designing a new VR headset.
Oh boy.
Possibly it's still up in the air. They're definitely still like working on a couple of the VR titles like Iron Man VR.
Yeah.
But so that camera is just so you can do the VR system like out the gate. Like we're not going to waste too much time for you to be able to use your VR on the PS5. So I would love it if they wouldn't be nice enough to include said camera. If you're gonna charge me $700,
Yeah.
I'd be
I
more
mean, I
willing
couldn't blame me for that.
to forgive you. I'd be more willing to forgive everything you're doing to me. Taking my money,
Right.
making me waste parts of my life to play your games. If you threw in a camera, so I can record my sad life.
True.
Yeah.
Well, we
And even
got
that headset looked pretty
Xboxes.
good.
Yeah, I'll say that. That did look pretty good. But we got Xbox's big event next month.
Ooh, so
where,
scared.
where they said that they're going to be announcing pretty much what the AAA devs that they purchased have been working on, and plus some of the smaller ones and where they're at with some of their games. Um, they're going to go into more detail on the stuff that they've already showed. And of course, everybody is just sitting there going, shut up and give us Halo Infinity. Me
See, I'm not
included.
saying that. You know what? I'm gonna do what you did. I'm gonna say the one thing that that the boys at Microsoft need to do in order for me to throw down money on it. There is a game, and
What
I know
game?
that they can do this now that they've bought a company known as Double Fine.
Okay.
I
What
want
game?
Brutal Legend.
Yes. Yes.
I want Brutal
Brutal
Legend.
Legend needs to come back.
You drop
It
Brutal
needs-
Legend, even if it's just a
it needs a
remaster. I'll
sequel.
be happy with a remaster.
I thought
If
there
it's
was.
even if
No, there wasn't a remaster.
No, there has been speculation and thought over a remaster, but the people at Double Fine have said, "Look, we want to do it, but we are focusing on a new project before we go and revive an old IP." Because the last thing they worked on was Psychonauts, was a new Psychonauts title, and
That
they
didn't
said
do
in an
that, yeah.
interview last year at E3, like, okay, we wouldn't be against doing another old thing, but we have to first do a new thing. We have to
Yeah,
do a new
that's just
idea, which makes
business.
sense. But of course, in the interview, because Jack Black was also there,
Go figure.
someone asked, "Hey, you guys thinking about Brutal Legend 2?" And of course, Jack Black responded with, "I mean, I'd be down for it. Maybe if we made it like a rock opera." So
Oh,
the
yeah.
idea is floating around them.
And in my opinion, one of the greatest things, other than what they already did in the first one, with all the Rock of Legends being the gods, but they would have to incorporate Metalocalypse.
Yeah. Oh no, definitely.
They would have to
Ve-
incorporate Deathlock.
I'd love that.
One secret, at least for one sequence, just give me Deathclock back, just long enough to know.
Even
Okay,
if it's
still
just
there.
like a small cameo, just like
Yeah.
Eddie walks up and is just like, "Hey, what are you guys doing?" I don't know. We're just gonna wait this one out. You don't want to join and fight and join us in the battle? No, we're good. You sure? Yeah, we're gonna warm up our instruments. Yeah, our instruments. And then they just walk away.
That's right.
They don't actually have to do anything. They just have to be there. They just have to be there.
Exactly.
I mean, there was a Tenacious D reference in the original game. It was only a side mission that lasted about 2 minutes.
And it had what's his name in there?
Yeah,
It's
as
like-
one of the
yeah,
giant-fisted people.
Yeah.
And I think his mission was, hey, can you go over there
It
and
was like
do
a follow
thing?
mission or something.
Yeah,
It was something
follow
so
me.
stupid.
Watch me punch things.
Yeah.
And then you won.
Yeah,
It was
please
great.
do this game. I love that game so much.
If they were to do it, I would want something. I would want like, because you got to top a Tim Curry villain, which ain't easy. It ain't ever easy to
Bring
top Tim Curry.
back.
No, I would rather us go with kind of a meta, or maybe just go further into
Marie-
music and have like the only true enemy to rock and roll, which is pop music. I would be okay if like a literal holy angel version of Justin Bieber came down to threaten the ways
And then
of
he
rock
quickly
and
got his
metal.
ass hit.
I mean, of course he would, but wouldn't it be fun to do it?
Yeah, I would argue with that at all.
You know, we can even
But
have
you would
Michael Bublé.
Yeah, okay. But who would be? Oh no. I've got the solution. I've got the solution. The baddie on that side that you would end up having to battle is Anna Kendrick.
Okay.
She'd be down for it. She's awesome, and it
Yep.
would be great.
Now,
I challenge
stay with me.
anybody to argue me on this.
I will argue with my own perfect villain. If we're gonna do this like a rock opera, I need 5 acts and 5 villains. I'm talking
Oh,
about One Direction. Each singer is a boss. Each member is a boss. Yes.
No.
What do you want, in sync or something?
I was literally going to say the only thing that would beat Anna Kendrick would be like her sidekicks or her minions be the guys from NSYNC or Backstreet.
Can we be?
either
Can
one?
we have a? I want a goddess character that's literally just maybe Beyonce. I want her to literally be a goddess that you have to fight.
Okay. I'm sure
Like she can be the
down.
hardest thing you've ever fought in the game. But I want it.
I'm
She
down.
doesn't have to be in the main thing. She can be DLC. I
Guys,
just
are you
want it.
listening? We have these ideas and we'll sell them to you quite cheaply. We promise. We won't fight that much.
No, we won't. We will merely ask that we get to voice something in it. It doesn't even have to be
Oh, yeah,
something
give
important.
us a cameo.
Give
No.
us-
Give us a voice line like Halo did in Halo 3 with the two guys from Red versus Blue. You don't
You're
know
gonna
what I'm
have to
talking
refresh my memory.
Okay. In the second mission, I think, where you're in the compound and you have to get out of the
Mhm.
compound. The game tells you, I think, to go right.
Mm-hmm.
But if you go left, it'll go around a curve and it's got barriers. And you can pick
All
up
right.
some ammo and whatnot. But if you go through the barriers, it goes around another little curve and it's got a door. And if you go up to the door and sit there for a second, it's can't remember who it was, but it's two of the guys from Red versus Blue just having one of their conversations like they would in the show.
Oh, I bet it's probably Simmons. And
I think it's Simmons and Griff.
yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, no. I would love that. Just have us be voices, and just walk up to random people and go, "What are we doing?" I don't know. What are we doing here? I mean, in this grand scheme of life and all. No, I mean, what are we doing?
Dude, no, seriously, what are we doing here?
I mean, literally nothing happens
no
around
ammo.
here. Ever
I got
since
a
the
1,000
demons
hits.
died.
Where are my crap?
Ever since that jerkwad with a guitar in a car killed the main demon, we've had nothing to do.
Oh fuck. Okay, so we're gonna move on. I was not expecting
go-
this to go that long and be
You
that
know we
good,
could go
but
on
have to move
forever.
it. I know we could keep going, and I'm sure we will at some point.
Alright.
Normally I have to go next on the list, but let's see. I guess in the vein of new stuff, Avatar: The Last Airbender hit Netflix over the past month, and it has been a resurgence in the fandom, and it's gotten kind of salty because people are comparing it to Korra.
Okay. Well, honestly, I don't know how you can resurgence a series that never really died. Like, but I have heard complaints between the two series. I don't agree with most of them.
Neither
I like them
neither
both.
do I.
I love them both. Of course,
Still
my
haven't seen
debates.
Legend of Korra yet.
Oh, it's got to be seen. It's
Okay.
It is pretty good. I've seen some of it, and I liked what I saw. I've seen most of Avatar. I hadn't seen the whole thing in its entirety because we didn't have DVR, and yes, it is that old.
Mhm.
So I had to catch it on reruns, and it just a lot of episodes got away from me. But I did watch as much as I could, and I loved it. Korra came out, and I tried to backtrack with DVR and catch a lot of it, and I couldn't do it, and life just got in the way. So what I did see, I liked it, enjoyed it, but I don't see it as two things that can be compared.
I have seen every episode of both. Binged watched Korra and took my time with Aang. There are differences, obviously, with the shows, aside from them being in two different times. And I will say that they're kind of opposites to each other.
Yeah.
Aang has an overarching story that goes from beginning to end and has a lot of emotion and heart, and you can remember every single character that pops up on screen, whether it's a guy selling cabbages or the lovely Uncle Iroh. You remember everything.
Right.
Korra has more story building. It has more world building than Aang did. Like, you get a sense for the entire world, rather than wherever you seem to be going.
Gotcha.
And Korra also, where it does lack a few of the more emotional moments, when it has them, it will punch you in the face. With some hard knocks of life. And there are not as many memorable characters as in Aang. I remember literally 4 of them
You mean
by
the main
name.
4?
No. You wish. It is
I don't
not
even
the main
remember
4. I know Korra, obviously. Bolin, an earthbender who is hilarious and is literally the best character. He is a sweet, innocent cinnamon roll and should be protected.
Oh, full circle.
He's great. He's a combination of Toph and... Not Toph, no. Katara and Sokka, kind of, if their characters could become one being, that would be Bolin. He's kind, sweet, and funny.
Okay.
And then there is Varen, who is his own bag of fun. He is a main-ish character, but he doesn't show up until later in the episodes.
Okay.
And then there is Jolene, who is Varen's assistant, who is most famous for one thing, which is the fact that Varen, if he needs an scapegoat, he will go, Jolie, do the thing, and then she will do it. She will just do a thing, and it works out. Those are the only characters that I know by name. Everyone else who isn't a returning character or is new, I am nope.
Nope.
No one else. But it amps where it misses its emotionals. It hits you hard with some serious action. Because unlike Aang, Korra was allowed to learn the elements unabated, and she is much more violent than Aang. She is not a pacifist or a vegetarian.
Yeah. I picked up on that really quick.
She enjoys punching people and hopes they cry. Only the bad people, of course.
A little bit of trivia. I think one of the directors that did both those shows is one of the directors on Mandalorian.
Yes. And it shows.
Which is another show that is returning in October, I believe.
Oh, I can't wait.
I know. I can't wait for it either. But we've got that looking forward to. I finally finished Clone Wars, the final season.
I've been meaning to take a look at it.
I am happy with the ending. I was kind of expecting more due to the volume people were speaking about it, but it was solid. They ended up using motion capture for two battles in 2 episodes, and it's one of those 2 things are like the biggest battles I've ever seen in my life. It was just fantastic. I'm sitting there going, oh, holy crap, oh my god. I mean, nothing in the new movies even comes close to it. Then me and my son picked up Kippo for the 2nd season last night. We binged it all in one sitting.
The lovely Kipo.
I am really happy with that series. I liked it. I will say that I guess the second half or the second season, whichever way you want to look at it, wasn't as powerful towards the end. It did have good story. It was good. I'm not complaining. It just wasn't. It just didn't hit as hard as it did in the first.
Well, I mean, the first season had to hit you hard because it only left you with questions.
Right.
Whereas the season 2 was more of answers. Not that there aren't still questions. I have a million of them. Mainly how, but
Yeah. Uh-oh. Did we lose Caleb?
I don't know.
I think we lost him.
Oh no.
According to the thing, he's talking. But not on
Caleb, can you hear us?
according to chat, he's talking, but it's not picking him up on the recorder.
Oh, probably going up, coming back in.
Yeah.
am I back?
There he is.
Okay.
Okay. What was I saying? Where did I cut out because the internet
You were
sucks?
saying you had questions, you had 1,000 of them, basically why or how.
Right. They start with how. I think the main reason that season 2 doesn't have as much punch is because it's more grounded.
Okay. Yeah.
Because in season 1 you had to learn everything. You learned that there are factions in this universe. You learned that almost every single creature on this planet is a weird mutation of some sort.
Right.
And you've also learned that things got weird, and they get weird fast.
Super weird.
And you just slowly discover stuff like lumberjack kittens and
Timbercats. Timbercats are the
Gotta
greatest
love-
things ever and need to be protected.
rock and roll punk snakes and Top Gun hummingbirds. Like, you just learned things like this, along with mobster frogs, which is an amazing sentence,
Yes.
Only topped by lumberjack cats. That sing.
But like, and season 2 was more okay. We've got this universe. We've built it. Let's expand on it, and because it focused more on less of the world and more of the characters. You get a little bit of backstory from Wolf. You get a lot of backstory from Kipo herself and even her father.
Family. Yeah.
Yeah, like, it's just more character. Especially now that we're allowed to enjoy our villain, Scarlemagne,
Yes.
who I will always love. I have not seen the last episode. I don't care. I still love him, no matter what he did.
Oh yeah. I mean, he's a classic villain, and they play him in such a way that you're reminded. Oh yeah, these are what villains used to be.
No more do we have to wonder, hey, is this main character going to stab you?
Yeah. I mean, I can't go too much into without spoilers, but it's like, oh yeah, this used to cause
This is
feelings, and yeah,
This is what evil used to feel like. This is what it felt to both enjoy and hate something.
yeah,
I mean, Avatar, you loved and hated Zuko. That was a bad guy,
Oh, yeah.
who was, of course, trumped by Azula, the bag of Cocoa Puffs that she is.
it's her.
Of course. You loved her all the same, though. You loved her, and you hated her, especially with what she did. She knows what she did. Getting getting past it.
And
Um,
and of course the greatest of all, there's Vegeta.
of course, yeah, no, like you love and hate him. He's a jerk, but you can't help but enjoy his jerk.
Speaking
Um,
of which, my son, uh, I got him into DBZ a couple years back when they were running Super, and that was our afternoon thing on Mondays, was to watch the new episode of Super on Funimation. And I was telling him
yes.
about the manga, and he wanted to start reading the manga, so I'm like, okay. And they had just started issuing out the manga for Super. So I started getting them when they come out, and I think we're up to the current one, which is 9. And this is something I did not know. Uh, the Tournament of Power is only like a book and a half.
But if you scream
It's
long enough,
like,
it's a lot more.
well, yeah, but it's like 10 something episodes. It's its own anime arc, and then it's like a book and a half in the manga. But they finish it halfway through book 9, and now they're on the Prisoner Moro arc that everyone is like focused on right now. And I'm like, oh my god, I've got to steal your book so I can read this. Hurry up and read it so I can borrow this. I've only seen little bits and pieces of it when something big happened, and now I get to finally read it for myself because there's no anime at this point.
Yeah.
So I'm getting excited for that. Speaking
I mean, they're
of all
talking
that,
about ideas.
well, basically what I heard, what they said was they were going to take a break from the anime to basically let the manga catch up long enough so they weren't pressed.
Mm-hmm.
They had to hold the manga, or no, hold the anime a couple of times so that way that issue could get out. Like they were all on top of themselves for Super. I mean, there's still a movie that's supposed to come out after Brawley.
Which I will gladly watch.
Oh yeah, but I hadn't heard anything else about it, so I don't know if that's still the plan or.
I mean, I know that they were dancing around like Piccolo getting like a power up in his own arc.
Krillin, Gohan, and Piccolo are rumored to be getting power-ups.
I think Krillin deserves it.
Well, I think Krillin had a good outing in the Tournament of Power where when he sparred against Goku and he beat him.
Yeah, no, like don't get me wrong, Krillin. Like that's what I'm saying. Like Krillin is by far the most impressive human.
Oh yeah, easy.
He's a very impressive human. I feel like he deserves his own bit of uniqueness. I'm not saying we should turn him into a super Humekian, but
No,
you know,
they need to find a way
maybe.
to get him on par like it used to be.
Like I wouldn't mind
In my
maybe
opinion.
Krillin mastering the Kaioken.
I would be down for that.
That would be kind of cool.
I would agree with that. Moving on, speaking of the pushbacks and movies and stuff, theaters are starting to open
Meh.
here and there, or at least planning to next month. And Nadine had something on that subject she wanted to talk about.
Yeah, over here in Florida, Epic Theaters, they're doing on the side of the building. They'll project the movies and they have drive-in. So it's basically $20 plus tax, and everyone in the car gets in. And for an additional $20, you get popcorn, 4 sodas, and some candy. They had been doing 2 shows a night before everything got seriously locked down. And then they started again, and now since it gets dark at 9 p.m., they're only doing one movie. But they've done Footloose, Wizard of Oz, they've done Indiana Jones, they did Dark Knight Rises, Back to the Future, and I'm like, seeing that in a drive-in style is kind of like the kick back, relax, and hang out with your family that I would enjoy.
Oh yeah.
I
think that
those
should be
movies
looked at by
deserve
other
it.
people. And of course, those movies deserve it.
Yeah, and I mean, they still
I would
have
love to go
like
see those
regular
on the big
movies
screen.
going on also. And of course, you don't have to spend the $20 for the meal set that they have for you. You can bring in your own 2-liter, have your Jiffy Pop or whatever.
And they won't look at you weird? I'm impressed.
Well, I
Well,
don't
I
know
mean,
if
if
they'll
in
look
a
at me
drive-in
weird, but
setting, it's
what
not
are they
like they can
gonna
really
do?
mess with you.
I mean, fair.
Step out of
But
your
I
car
go
and
into
let
the
me sit.
movies with a. I mean,
They
I
can
go into the
glare at
movies
you.
with an. Hey. Fair.
Have Domino's deliver or something.
No,
That would be
no.
awesome.
Better. Not only will I have Domino's deliver, but I'll say, like, make sure I'm the last one on your route. You can sit next to us. And we'll watch the movie together.
Here you go.
We'll get you a ticket. You bring the pizza. It'll be great.
But it gives me like those 70s vibes of when I was a kid and hanging out with the family and the station wagon. But now you have air conditioning.
Yeah, true. At least some people have air conditioning.
Yeah, no, I've noticed, at least the theaters around where I am, they have cleaning people parked outside of it, so I'm assuming they want to open back up. But I have heard rumor that some of the people at movie companies don't want to.
Oh, yeah.
They kind of like what Trolls 2 did and what Scoob did, and just they kind of.
Which I saw today, and it is fantastic.
Which one?
Scoob.
Okay. Yeah, no, Scoob is great. It is a good celebration of Hanna-Barbera in general, and it's just really good.
God, yes.
Yeah,
So many
no.
references and so many things I was not expecting, voiced by people I was not expecting.
Are we talking?
It
Are we
was
talking
just
about the
fantastic.
captain? I believe we're talking about the captain.
Yes, we're talking about the captain.
Oh yeah, the
I
captain
thought
was
they were
a
going to
very.
go in another direction with that. And I was
As
like,
did
are
I.
they really going to pull this? Are they really going to pull this? And then he shows up, and I went, oh, interesting.
Honestly, I watched this movie with my family because, of course, I did. And as we're watching it, as soon as the captain showed up and he talked
Yeah, I sat there and I died.
In a-
at that voice.
in a beautiful simultaneous moment of true bloodline, me and my dad both said, "Really? Him?"
Yep. I did the exact same thing, and my son's sitting there going, huh? What are you talking about? He hasn't done anything you would know, son. I'm sorry. But yes, it's him. I even looked it up just to make sure I wasn't hearing.
Yeah. You can't fake that voice.
Well, just making sure. And it just fits so well. Like, I never would have even thought that. And I
It's
went,
random enough to make you
It
question
worked.
it, but as he kept going, you're like, no, this is okay.
Yeah. Yep.
By far not the weirdest, like, out of all the voices that we questioned during the Scoob creation, that one never came up.
No, it didn't.
We questioned, oh, how dare they change Shaggy's voice actor? How dare you, you
Yeah.
blasphemous. Meanwhile, 30 Rock has entered the building. The original OG is the captain.
I will say if I was gonna change one voice on there, I would have switched out Blue Falcon.
Yeah, no, me too. I honestly would.
Only because the voice actor that they have had to have been doing an impression of the actor I wanted to replace it with.
Was it not Ryan Reynolds?
It was not Ryan Reynolds, and I could.
It sounded like Ryan Reynolds.
Exactly, it was Mark Wahlberg.
Okay. Yeah, no. I thought
I'm
like for the
sitting here,
long
I'm like,
until
I like Mark, but if you're gonna sound like that, just give it to Reynolds.
Just get him.
Yeah.
I mean, do you really want to hear a Blue Falcon reference in Deadpool 3?
What kind of question?
You know? Fair enough. I wouldn't question
What
it.
do we
I would
not
also
do in
enjoy.
Deadpool 3?
I honestly would have accepted it. It's like, okay, I need a new suit. Blue seemed to work out last time. Certainly better than green.
Yes. I would be so down for that.
I did like it, though. Yeah, no, Scoob was good. But, like, a lot of
Scoob was
movie
very
companies are realizing how good Scoob and Trolls 2 did. Like, even though the two movies were decent in their own right, they're thinking, like, these movies did really well. Do we have to do movie theaters again? I mean...
See, and this is where I think the game is changing there.
mhm.
Those two movies did really well on a direct stream rental basis. Now, if you like today when we rented Scoob, well, and with Trolls, it was $14.
You got it for 14?
Yeah, I got it for 14. Both
Lucky.
of them. Each one was $14, but when you look at it and it's like 14 for a one-day rental, when I would have normally had to schedule, pay $30, 40 if we make it a family event, and then another 40 for snacks.
Mm-hmm.
The movie was great, but I was not about to drop $80 for it. 14? Yeah, I'll pay 14 to go see this.
I mean, we did a family thing. We straight up bought the movie. We straight up bought Scoob because when we watched it, it was like an early release kind of situation. It was like $20 to rent it and $25 just to own it. So we just went up and owned it, and we loved ourselves afterwards.
It's something I'll probably pick up eventually, but I'm not. I don't like purchasing too much.
Oh no, I'm with you. It's just at that moment in time, it seemed smarter to straight up buy it. Which I'm gonna watch it again later. I'm gonna watch it again. when I'm in
paying another 14 to watch it again. I mean, it was impressive. I was expecting.
And I apparently heard that I missed some Easter eggs in there. So.
Oh, you've got to look. You've got to look.
There's so much
hand. There is so much, and especially at the end credits.
Oh yeah, no, the end credits are the problem. It's weird, but I would have watched the entire movie again just to see the end credits, and I don't mean that in a mean way.
Oh no! I completely get it. I'm sitting here, I'm naming things off, and my son's like, "Who's that? What's that?" And I'm like, "They don't run this stuff
Child,
anymore."
you must appreciate the equivalent of the Hanna-Barbera Avengers.
I know, right? I mean, there's no way to watch these things anymore. That nobody runs them.
No, well, no, not even Boomerang runs them anymore.
No, Boomerang, you're lucky if they run the old Cartoon Network.
Fair. I mean, they used to, that was my thing. I liked Cartoon Network, but if it came a certain time, I was like, let's turn on Boomerang. I want to watch some Duck Dodgers.
Hell yeah.
Cow and chicken. Who am I kidding? I watched it for I Am Weasel.
We all watched it for I Am Weasel.
I'm not gonna lie to you people.
I Am Weasel was one of the first nudge, nudge, wink, wink things that Cartoon Network ever did, and it was great. Followed only by Johnny Bravo. The first run, not the second.
Oh, Johnny Bravo.
Really? Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, no, Johnny was great. Especially when he inevitably did his crossovers. Those were always fun. Especially when he threatened Velma.
I was going to say, didn't he do a Scooby-Doo crossover?
He did do a Scooby-Doo crossover where him and Velma lost their glasses.
Yeah. I remember that.
I can't be seen without my glasses. I'm only gonna say this once. Don't ever touch my glasses. He also was a Green Lantern, so that should tell you something. Apparently, the lovely people at OA aren't very specific.
Well, not anymore.
I mean, he's got the will to get rejected every single second of the day. And the will to keep going.
Well, yeah, that's what it takes.
Yeah, gotta give him credit.
I guess we can.
I think he wouldn't survive. I mean, he wouldn't survive in this day and age. But I mean, I'd like him.
Oh God, no. He cancel culture would get him quickly.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Unfortunately.
That's always what I find sad. We live in a world where a show that good can't exist because it would be destroyed in seconds.
And I was sitting here looking for a bridge to hit the HBO Max stuff, and there it is.
There it is.
Yes, Johnny Bravo would quickly. I doubt it would even last a couple of episodes before somebody freaked out.
Yeah, no. I mean, don't
Going
get me wrong.
into the new Looney Tunes, which look fantastic, and everyone that I've seen has been hilarious.
Oh no, they're hilarious.
They're sitting there making this big effort to not give the two characters their guns, and it's like, wait a minute. They had these guns, but they never even shot anybody.
Well, they
These are
did, but it
plastic.
never killed anyone.
It didn't even hurt them. They shot
I mean,
at them.
it upset Daffy. Let's not ignore the emotional damage.
His feet would
True.
spin
It
around.
was a loud noise.
You know,
Beak at the back of the head.
I mean,
it's okay.
yeah. Like, admittedly, it hurt for a minute. He fixed it. But he was,
He did first
he
aid.
was, nerfed. He was very annoyed. Yeah, no. And honestly, Elmer's the only one who's actually shot a person.
Yeah.
Sam
And-
has never shot anything other than the ground. He's threatened many people, but who hasn't?
Exactly.
Plus, he's a cowboy. It's kind of his thing.
But I don't know if you saw this in the group. I made the comment on somebody's post about it, and I'm like, let this sink in for just a second.
Oh no, it was my
HBO.
post.
Oh, was it your post? I couldn't
Yeah.
remember if it was yours or Andrew's. But I'm like, let this sink in. The television company that made their living off of running R and higher rated movies, their own original programming, the first ones were basically softcore porn.
Yeah, no, call it like it is.
They did not downplay any violence at all, no matter what they've shown.
Nope.
Especially in Game of Thrones, which is one of the
Which,
bloodiest
by the
things
way,
I've
Looney
seen.
Tunes is beating
Yeah,
by a fairly nice margin.
but they want to make a statement and say, "Well, we're not gonna give them guns."
I mean,
Okay.
Look.
Now, I can
Kind of like
understand
E.T..
changing some character designs, and I can understand some of the jokes. You know, it was a different time. They may not have necessarily meant to been racist, but it was taken that way. I get it. You want to adjust it and bring the stuff back. That's fine. But really?
I mean, there's more than one way to skin a rabbit, but the gun is the most effective.
I would say so.
Although I have heard that Tasmanian Devil hasn't made his appearance. Is that true?
I don't know. I have not.
Like, I've
bothered
heard
with
that there are a couple of
HBO Max,
characters that are
so-
still like waiting to get the HBO treatment, and Taz is one of them. Why, I don't
Well,
know. Possibly because he's kind of a living weapon.
Well, let's see.
I'm waiting for Wiley though.
Let me go back through the whole thing. I don't know if they dropped all the cartoons that you could just watch them, or if they're dishing them out every couple of weeks or whatever. I don't know. So that it might be that kind of type of deal, or they just did this and they're testing the waters and now they're making decisions. But I know when they took them off of Cartoon Network, the people that got them removed, their biggest complaints was Pepe Le Pew, Speedy Gonzalez. They were talking about the violence and all this other crap.
Yeah,
They named
okay.
off specific cartoons, and one of which I always considered one of my favorites, and I never really paid attention to it until somebody pointed it out, and then I could see it was the one episode with the penguin where the Eskimos chasing him down and Bugs is helping him.
Oh, okay.
And
Okay.
he cries the little ice cubes.
Yeah, no, I
Silly.
remember
Yeah.
him. He's adorable.
Yeah. And then somebody pointed out the drawing of the Eskimo, and then that could be seen as racist. I'm like, okay, I can see your point, but I'm pretty sure that wasn't intended. Now, I have seen some cartoons that you had to look up that the racism was pretty blatant. So I would assume
Bugs
if
is
they were
no
going to
is
do something
no
like that,
stranger to
then-
racism.
Well, yeah. I mean, if they were going to do something like that, then you would know. You wouldn't have to question it. And I remember growing up, a lot of my friends, one of their favorite characters was Speedy Gonzalez.
See, okay, yeah, no, like Speedy, Pepe Le Pew, and Tasmanian Devil. Those three have not, they have not resurfaced, as
Two
of
them
right
probably
now.
won't.
I
I'm
will be
gonna go ahead
disappointed,
and-
but I will not be heartbroken. He was never really my favorite. I enjoyed him, and in terms of like I enjoyed Sylvester, but
Yeah.
I never was in love with Speedy. Would I have enjoyed would I enjoy Wile E. Coyote going after him? Very much so. But does it need to be seen? No.
Well, they did bring him back for that sitcom style.
They
show
did,
on
and they
Cartoon
gave
Network.
him a Mexican restaurant, which was
Yeah.
pretty good.
And if I remember correctly, they were asked about it, and they said that they wanted to show him in a positive light while still returning the character. And okay, but
They
doesn't
did.
he usually beat the crap out of the cat that's trying to kill him?
I mean, yes. Although, if I were to point out any of it, honestly, Speedy wasn't that racist. His brother or cousin, on the other hand, maybe. but not him.
Yeah, that's what I was going to
Thank
mention.
God I am
that-
not. Thank God I'm not crazy because I was thinking the exact same shit.
Yeah, no, his cousin, something.
Slowpoke Rodriguez.
Slowpoke. Sure, Slowpoke Rodriguez. You could probably make the connection. He's a little racist. But Speedy, nah, Speedy's good. He's like always happy, always wanting to help people, you know?
Yeah.
He's got a catchphrase that maybe some people could think is weird, but you know what? Everyone has one, you know? It's like, well,
Yeah.
you know, it's like, you don't need to. You could. But that's like not letting Yosemite Sam do his fake curse words.
Yeah. Or getting mad and shooting the ground and lifting himself 3 feet in the air.
Or going, oh! You know,
Yeah.
it's just, it's them. It's them. It's part of the, you know, it's like saying Marvin the Martian can't say space modulator. It's just not something you have to do.
238. There's just certain stuff that, I mean, you can play with all you want, but at the end of the day, and I'm trying to remember, I was trying to remember since the other day what it was. Somebody started streaming or brought something back, and they were catching flack for it because it was in the same kind of category where it was catching flack for, racism or
Was it
other
white
or
chicks?
violence. No, God no.
Okay. Because I heard
it was
something
a
about-
cartoon or something, and I went to go watch it when it came on. I can't what the fuck it was, but they actually put up a disclaimer. They
Huh.
said that it said something similar to the facts of these are old classic cartoons. They were made in a different time. Certain things were seen as okay. We know we're not now. Please do your research and enjoy the rest of the show. And they played them anyway. I honestly can't remember what the hell that was.
I mean, I can think of a couple of shows that could have done that. You know?
Well, yeah, I'm
a
sure we all
few.
could, but
Um, um, but I mean, on one hand, I want to say kudos to that. On the other, I want to say, really? Because, like,
yeah,
like,
I'm with you on that.
we don't have
mean,
to warn everything. We don't have to warn everybody. That's like, hey, guys.
You do because parents take their kids and they sit them in front of the TV and then walk away.
Yeah,
They have
well,
it as a babysitter
but-
instead of screening
Right,
it for
and-
them
and-
beforehand.
And when the child mimics something, instead of going, "Hey, I know where you saw that. We don't do that. Pay attention." They don't do that. They expect the TV to raise their kid. So now they put
Don't.
all this freaking pressure on people making TV
Mhm.
shows and cartoons that have to have morals.
you know,
and
you
teach
say
them
that,
this
but
and
somehow
teach
Teen
them that.
Titans Go is still on the air, and it does a lot of things I would question as a parent.
Well,
And
I don't
then
know
you
how
have
Teen
on the
Titans
other
Go is still on
hand,
the air.
then you have on the other hand the people that were freaking out because of the Trolls movie and Onward. That it was negatively impacting their children, and if you were really Christian, you wouldn't show them to them, and that was just
Oh yeah.
way out of left field.
Pardon?
Yeah, I'm used to that because I went to a Christian school. But there was something.
I mean-
there was something else that Onward caught crap for right after it came out. I want to say it was some sort of racism.
What's it? What? I saw Onward. I reviewed Onward. I loved Onward.
Yeah, but people were pissed off because of the Manticore. Is like, oh, she's a devil, and I'm like, oh, you don't know mythology.
She's not a devil. Even if you didn't know mythology, I mean, they make it very apparent that literally everything in this world is a magical creature. They don't even have real humans. They have elves,
Exactly.
who are blue, by the way.
Oop.
I mean, the only thing I can think of is maybe they were weirded
Okay,
out
Nathan.
about how much hate the Horseman got.
The
I think
centaur.
Yeah, because the
For-
Centaur got a lot of unnecessary hate, despite it being a stepdad joke.
see that's all I saw it was as a stepdad thing.
Like, that's the only thing I can think of. Or maybe it was because, the one kid was like, hey, I don't remember the dad's name. I'm going to call him Phil. Hey, Phil, you should be running because you're a centaur. I mean, maybe that could be
I think
considered
that
as
was
that.
what
But
it
it's
was.
That's so weird, though, because it's a historian thing, and it is. I mean, it's a whole gray area.
All I remember
Because-
is people were livid for about 3 days about it, and I'm just sitting there going, "Hell,
Oh.
this movie was fantastic."
No, the movie was very well done. It was short, sweet, simple. It was well written.
Yeah,
It
Cracks me
did
up
what
that
it
my
needed to
husband's
do.
favorite character was the dad's legs.
yeah, I can get that.
It's like,
The dad's like, I mean,
that's your favorite? And he's like, it's awesome.
he doesn't talk. He doesn't have to do anything. And when you think about it,
He's completely funny.
he is hilarious.
He is
didn't have to.
hilarious.
He literally was the funniest part of the movie and didn't have to lift a finger.
Exactly.
True.
Because he didn't have him.
I mean,
There's no
It
tiptoeing
was all
around that
classic
one.
sight gags, and that's an easy way to my heart. If you instead of trying to shock and awe or use fart jokes, you go with classic sight gags or gentle innuendos. It's like, okay, I got you. I see where you're coming from.
okay. Because ever since I had no idea that any of this was going on about people were giving this movie flack. I knew it wasn't very popular, but I just thought that was because it wasn't Frozen 2.
I'm sorry, but fuck Frozen.
Ooh,
No,
that's.
I don't
mean,
care-
don't
I
get
don't
me
care.
wrong.
No,
Even I don't like
no,
it, but
No, that movie.
I won't.
That movie.
Would it
I
help if you
pride
knew that
myself
if off-screen, Goofy, Donald, and Sora were freezing to death while Elsa sang her little song?
No. It would just make me hate it more.
It helps me because I find it hilarious. She's singing this song, meanwhile Goofy's over there just a chattering his teeth.
Ever since my son was born, right there into the Looney Tunes, the old Disney movies, the old Nickelodeon stuff,
Mhm.
right there. Ever since he was born. So when this came out, I'm like, all right, it's Frozen. Yeah, it's probably more geared towards little girls, but it's a Disney movie. It's the Disney animated movie of the year. We have to. I paid $10 to rent it,
Mhm.
and instantly, well, I regretted it probably about 10 minutes in. The only redeeming part of that movie was the snowman's song about what he was going to do in summer.
I want to tell him.
Because because he was because of the irony of it. It was just hilarious. The rest of the movie sounded like Cher and Christina Aguilera got high and got a hold of a mandolin and wrote the score.
Look, I
mean,
have.
I'll even back the the whole thing when they were saying, well, it's teaching little girls this way instead of that way, and I'm okay. Yeah, I can get behind that. That's good. That's cool. That's fine. Great.
I
The movie
can't get
sucks.
behind that. I can't get behind that because literally the same thing has been done. Like the exact same story. Oh no, I wasn't even thinking Lilo and Stitch, but Lilo and Stitch is its own golden
yeah.
like arc.
Uh-huh.
Like it's its own gold. I have a Stitch figure sitting right next to me. Don't it?
Shame on you. Shame on your cow.
What are you talking about? I love Lilo and Stitch. I have it right next to me.
If you ever run into Mercedes, ask her to do her Stitch.
Oh,
Everyone does a Stitch. Even I do a Stitch.
I can't
Oh
do
no. Sadie's does a very good Stitch.
But like, came out at the same time. Princess Story, wanting to be independent, break free from norms, but also doesn't need to trust everyone around her.
Right.
Mhm.
Tangled did it better.
Oh, yeah.
I love Tangled. Tangled was hilarious.
Tangled was funny. The songs were way more memorable because, like, sure, you have your summer song and Let It Go, but I guarantee you can't tell me another song from Frozen. And there are others. There's at least 3 others.
At least
I know them because I hate it, but
there's at least
but
3.
yeah, there's at least 3 more. Maybe a 4th that I cannot remember to save my life.
Okay, so I know Weezer did one for the second one. And the only reason I know that is because I like Weezer.
Yeah. See, you can't remember nothing from Frozen or Frozen 2, but if I asked you to tell me a song from Tangled, you probably could tell me all but one.
It's been so long, I probably couldn't, to be honest.
Oh yeah.
I do have a dream, though.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
But
I
if
have a
was to
dream.
watch the movie, I could probably sing along with it.
Exactly. If you watch Frozen, you could not sing to any of those songs because you'd have to be like, oh, that's how it goes.
Yep.
Whereas in Tangled, you'd be like, oh yeah, no, deep down I have a dream. What's your
You don't
dream?
even have dance routines to it. Come on, let's be honest.
I mean, I do, but that's beside the point.
I do too. That's why I say it.
And like, yeah, no, you have the She Was Bored song, the Lanterns. It wasn't even that many songs in the movie, but each one made you remember it.
That is true.
And even then, like, they went a step further. Sure, there's not a Tangled 2, but Tangled the series.
The series was fantastic.
True.
It's amazing, and I will tell you this, there's not a ton of songs in there, but I remember all of them.
Yep.
I have them on my Spotify.
And they had Jeremy Jordan in there. I mean, come on.
You can't deny it.
Now, I will say we went and saw the live action Lion King.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that was money wasted.
That was
Now,
disappointing.
My aunt took my son to see the Aladdin one. He said it was better.
More sorry? Oh yeah, no, it's better, but that's just because Will Smith is Will Smith.
Well,
Yep.
yeah. Probably the only person that could have replaced
Robin.
Robin Williams.
I mean, to be honest, I have I've held off from watching the live action Aladdin just because of how much I love the original.
Yeah, me too.
But I will say this. I did see the music thing that they released, because whenever they do the live action, they usually release one song so you get an idea of what's going on.
Yeah.
They released Prince Ali, and I watched it. I willingly watched it just so because I loved Will Smith, and I want to give Will Smith his chance to be Will Smith. It hurt me. It hurt me because it is from what Will Smith is doing on. It's not what I expected, but I know he wants to do what I thought he would do. I expected Prince Ali to be a little more original. I expected him to Will Smith.
And
Like,
yeah, and
kind of like what he did, like kind of like the Men in Black song or Wild Wild West. I expected Will Smith to Prince Ali, but it's gonna be Will Smith's breakdown, right down to maybe a freestyle rap. I don't care. It's Will Smith. I'm gonna let him do it. But you can tell when he's singing Prince Ali, he does like a thing, and you can tell whenever he's doing it, he's looking at a director, telling him, no, stick to the song, don't do it. You can tell that there's a director off stage waving his finger,
I know.
telling Will Smith to tone it down and just stick to what people know, and I hate that.
When I went into the theater to see The Lion King, my son had seen the animated one that was done very early on, so he had reference. And we took his best friend with us, and I get in there and I'm sitting there thinking to myself, okay, it's got 30 seconds when the movie starts for me to tell if this is going to be a good movie or not.
What movie is this again?
The Lion King.
Lion
The
King.
live action.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And now the opening, it gave me hope.
Don't they all?
It gave me hope. Some of the voice acting gave me hope, and then when they started off-tempoing the songs and they just didn't hit as hard, and then about halfway through the movie, it sounded like they were just sitting there at a table read, and then instead of doing the upbeat music like they did in the animated one where he's running back to his home, they replaced it with Beyonce singing.
Which, a good tune to walk to. I would definitely do some power walking with it.
Yeah, I mean, if you're power walking, snapping your fingers at people as you're going down the street, yeah, it works. But if you're running to go protect your home, that really didn't fit.
No. Well, I mean, I did a review of the movie. I had to watch it.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was not fun. It was not fun. But I will say this, just like you, the beginning gave me hope. And that's kind of the thing with most of these live actions. The beginning, you want this movie to be good.
Yeah.
Like you feel it's like, nah, and you're thinking to yourself, oh, this might actually, this might be good. And then we get to Wanna Be King, and I think, okay. Different style that they took with it. I'm okay with it. But then as soon as
Be
prepared, and there's like, nope.
When Be Prepared hit, it kicked me in the nuts, and I said, okay, I'm just going to spend
that was the moment. That was the moment. Because I knew. I wasn't even expecting it, right? Because I heard that Be Prepared got cut.
Yeah.
And I had not heard anything from it. So when I heard the music building up with Scar talking, I was like, what? Wait, hold on.
We're going to do this?
Are we doing it? Oh my gosh. This is going to be amazing. And then they're doing it, and I was like, okay, yeah, no, you're saying it, but there has to be some kind of tempo,
Somewhere, please.
Right?
Anything.
like even like the guy who did original score, he was no singer. He did talk most of
Okay,
his
okay.
thing, but he did it.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, well, yeah, we're gonna do it. It's gonna be so cool. And I was like, really? You couldn't even have the ground shake or like I'm okay if there's no Nazi hyenas, but nothing. Yeah.
Even the show that they have at Disney, the Festival of the Lion King, when they do that part, it's the most awesome part. So to have them downplay it in the movie was kind of like,
And it's so
Oh.
downplayed that I had to pause the movie and think to myself, do I have to keep going?
Yes,
Because
yes,
if
you
they
do.
can't even... Because Be Prepared, honestly, any villain song is practically hand-wrapped for you. You just have to
yeah.
do something with it.
And
Because it's a villain song. We all know the villain song.
And Disney is always so good with their choosing of the voices for their villains.
Mm-hmm. And Scar was a decent voice. It was calm, collected. You couldn't see him breaking into madness. But you know what? Scar was never one that needed to do that. He was always had his plan, and he would always have a backup. So the voice sounded right. So I was like, okay, this is perfect. Be prepared. Unwrap your gift and give it. And let me see it. How cool is this? And no, it's not. And I'm just disappointed. And I knew the rest of the movie was going to be that disappointing. And lo and behold, my favorite punching bags showed up. I'm, of course, talking about Seth Rogen.
mhm.
Yeah. The rest of the movie, they were the only
Was-
redeeming factors.
Oh.
I liked
Oh, my.
I liked what they did with Timon and Pumbaa. They did well. The replacing the original actors, they did really good.
I'm glad they replaced him, but at the same
I
time,
like-
Seth Rogen
like-
is Seth Rogen.
Seth Rogen is Seth Rogen, but what are you gonna do? It's like I liked him in Green Hornet. He shouldn't have played and acted in Green Hornet, but he wasn't horrible.
No. I mean, look, would I have replaced would I have replaced those two with maybe Key and Peele? Most definitely.
Oh yeah,
That would have been my dream team right there. You got a dynamic duo, you slap them in there, we have ourselves a good old time.
Right.
I think Hakuna Matata hurt. It didn't hurt as much as Be Prepared, but it still hurt because of what they did in the song. We
but
went
they
in almost
did
an
actually
entire...
give us Lion Sleeps Tonight, which we didn't get in the animated.
Which is nice. Which was nice. I thought...
They kind of bitch slapped you with Hakuna Matata and then gave you that. It's like, okay,
Yeah,
kind of cool.
right. Yeah, no, they kept slapping you. It was like, here, I'm so sorry. You may have this. And then they took it from me and stabbed me and then kicked me in the toe because the Rafiki scene was taken out as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The big, which is honestly one of my favorite scenes, is when Rafiki is trying to explain what's going on.
Yeah.
You know? You can either run from it or learn from it. Go. I will say this. I hated the movie. No, I have no redeeming sentence for the movie.
No.
I hated it. It was
It was bad.
both boring and painful to watch.
And the
Agreed.
part that kills me is they had an award-winning musical, not only in animated but in Broadway. That
Yeah.
they didn't
I would have
pull
been
from that.
I would have been fine with that. I would have been fine if they just did the musical. Like I would have been fine because I know the musical has some stuff that the original didn't. I would have been fine if they just did, if they just owned up and just did the musical. I would have loved that. But here's my thing that always comes down. All of my hate for the live actions always boil down to this, and this is also why I'm excited for Mulan.
I'm
Is
not at all.
if you're gonna do it, if you're gonna do a live action thing, you need to do something different. I don't care what you do, but you got to do something different. If you're gonna give me
Yeah.
the same movie, you're not gonna be the same movie. You're going to be a worse version than it. So you might as well do something creative with your nothingness. And I pitched this. I pitched this in my review that it would have been so cool if instead of like Scar raised an army and just straight up went to war with the Pride Land. Like, didn't do a coup or anything secretive. No, he just went over to the hyenas, sang "Be Prepared," and was like, "Let's go to war."
Hmm.
Which they kind of hinted at because they gave the female hyena kind of a status of the queen of hyenas,
Mm-hmm.
and she kind of brought up like this whole feud between royalties. So I thought, okay, we're gonna do something with that. We're gonna do that'll be cool. The queen of the hyenas. That's kind of an awesome concept. I like it. Went no. We had to derail it so that we could get the normal story. Like I was like, oh, okay, cool. The queen of hyenas. She wants the child of the king to like as a ransom. That'd be kind of cool. Awesome. All right, let's do it. Nope. We need to have that scene where Scar throws the king off of the cliff so that I can laugh at it. Yeah, I laughed at it, especially in this one. It wasn't sad. It just made me upset.
Oh, I'm right there with you. But unfortunately, somehow, with our very limited topics, and even skipping a couple, we've been able to run for almost 2 hours.
Aw, it's what I do.
Trust me, not complaining at all. It has been a pleasure, but we do, and I hate doing this because I do not want to be that guy, but we do have to wrap it up.
Okie doke.
So this has been the next installment. Hopefully we'll have another one out soon with some more fun information and some returning people.
Caleb, it's been a
So
pleasure
we're
having
gonna
you.
go. Yeah. Hopefully we'll get him back and let him just talk for about an hour and a half.
Oh,
It's been great. But we do want to remind you all, be good to each other. Don't go too crazy with things and enjoy everything on the page. And if you've got questions or topics you want us to talk about, just post about it. Interact with us. We're here for that. Y'all have a good one.
Have a good night.
bye.